Hi there, welcome to the Gardens and Graveyard channel. Today we're meeting in the front yard and we're going to take a walk around the front yard garden, and then I'm going to walk around the backyard, but we are going to split this video in half so that it is not super long and taking up a ton of your time. But I did want to share what the garden is looking like in December of 2025. And we divide these videos up just so that it's sweet and short and easy to digest. During the summertime, I divide the garden up by rooms because there's so much going on. But by this time of year, I can divide it in half and we pretty much get to see the gist of everything. Today is the 3rd of December. You'll be seeing this on the following Sunday. And then I will continue on and do the backyard. So you'll see me dressed like this in the next garden tour video in a week from Sunday. And I just wanted to say that Spencer and I have been sick with a cold, so we haven't done any winter light landscape holiday zhuzhing, and we still have some pumpkins out. We did manage to break open some pumpkins for the birds and chipmunks, and we have those broken up in the backyard, and you'll see that in the backyard garden tour, but you'll probably see a couple of pumpkins still up here in the front yard as well from the fall holidays. And we are looking forward to getting out here and doing some holiday lights, but today is our last dry day for the next 10 days, so it's going to be a little while. And while we wish that we could have been feeling well enough in the last couple of days where it was really beautiful out, sometimes our bodies just say it's time to take a break, and I like to listen to my body and recover quickly. So that's what we've been doing. I am gonna probably pop a cough drop in my mouth, so hopefully that doesn't get too jumbly. I could tell that I'm still nasally, so sorry about that. We're gonna just turn the camera around and walk around the front yard and see what's happening. We still have a little bit of fall color, lots of evergreen interest, and just a little tiny bit of blooms happening right now. Oh, all right, well, we're starting at the driveway as per usual. I'm dying to get out here and prune that privet. It's hairy again. Let's see, what did I want to show you? Oh, the dog hobble. So we planted this shrub this year, so she's still little. I am so impressed with the different levels of interest this plant continues to have. In the spring, it was like green and white and pink variegated, and then it turned to this really dark burgundy. And then I was noticing, look at this, bright like fuchsia edges in here. Isn't that so cool? It's pretty impressive. I'm liking it so far. Nothing going on in there. There's some fall color on these Fairy Trail Bride hydrangeas. This is a Proven Winners weeping hydrangea that we planted this spring, and it was pretty much just encompassed by dahlias all summer. So she grew a little bit, and now she's turning her fall colors, and I expect her to defoliate. I don't know. Our hydrangeas tend to be semi-evergreen here. Some years they drop other leaves and other years they don't. This is a macrophylla hydrangea here, and oftentimes by this time of year it's dropped all of its leaves, but you could see that there's quite a few leaves on here now, and actually a lot of new growth. So I guess it's just whatever it decides to do, depending on weather. We do have a little bit of heather growing there. This is a very old heather that got transplanted from our backyard when we moved in here. I don't know what the variety is, but it's always fun to see it blooming. The Edgeworthia, this might be the time of year that I don't love it the most. And it's a very short period because most of the year I just love every stage that it gives us. But right now, as the leaves have, it's already turned its bright, vibrant yellow, and now the leaves are like rusty and falling off. And it just looks super sad. And it's dropping all of its leaves underneath there. I've picked it up a couple of times. I'm just kind of waiting to see, waiting for it to drop all of its leaves again. Hopefully all of them very soon. And then it'll be left with just all these little buds for 6 or 8 weeks before the buds color up. They have like a yellow center flower. Anyway, that's what's happening there. And then along the rose garden, we have our iberis blooming. It's not as, like, it doesn't bloom as thick as it does in the spring, but all winter long, it gives me this little bit of white sparkle, which I very much appreciate this time of year. We get roses all year long, so our winter roses are still kind of hanging in there. We just recently lost one. You could see that we end up with black spot, and they're not like super happy, but we do get fresh roses all year long. And what I will do is come through here around the middle of January and strip off all their leaves to give them a moment of dormancy. See, this thing is not going to open. It's just like full of water. Oh, see, it just dropped off. It just gets totally full of water and it can't open up. Okay. So in between the waterlogged days, we do get like the fresh blooms will open up. Let's see, what else do we have going on out here? Not a whole lot of anything new. You could see there's still a lot of interest here in my garden because of how much we've focused on having structural plants, evergreen plants, and being in the Pacific Northwest, we just get to have a lot of evergreens anyway, which is a blessing. And because we don't get snow, you know, we don't really have that like completely empty landscape in the wintertime. You could see we still have a couple pumpkins. This is what happens to my mums. They just turn into this nasty mush. So we'll just be getting rid of those now. The sumacs have completely lost all their foliage. We've cleaned it all up, and we've just been left with these really fun cones all up there. I think the cones and the fuzzy branches are my favorite thing about this tree. And then also it gives like this magnificent fall foliage color most years. And then we've also lost all of our leaves on the weeping cherry. So most of the fall color is done for the year. Our pineapple sage is blooming though. Isn't that so fun? It bloomed a little late this year. Usually it's in full color on Halloween, but it didn't come into its full bloom until like a week before Thanksgiving. The hummingbirds love this plant. This is one of their favorites, but I also have this vermilionaire up here, which the hummingbirds really love as well. It's got that same kind of flower structure. And the vermilionaire is a temperennial for us, so I usually just cut it about 6 inches from the crown, and you could see there's a bunch of new foliage coming up here. I just usually cut it 6-8 inches from the crown, and then it all flushes back in the spring, but I usually wait until the flowers are done flowering and they're still up, so I'm leaving them alone. We also have quite a bit of snapdragons still in color. In the first week of December, we still have a lot of snapdragons. We have quite a few up on the porch that are looking a little nicer. And we still have our pumpkins up there, but the some patients in the window boxes are still blooming and still going strong. Another snapdragon. I'll walk down into the lower garden here, and we'll see what's going on in the medicine garden. We have just a couple of the crane's bill geraniums with a little bit of color on them. We cut these back a couple of times a year, and they just come back in this big mess and still have a little bit of sparkling color. You can see that my my Brennera right here it's time to cut it back. The St. John's wort will start losing its leaves here soon, and I'll do a little pruning on it, but the birds will eventually eat these berries. We recently cut back our Artemisia, and I made a wreath, so look for that video coming out here soon. It'll probably come out next week on a Floral Friday. And then the rest of the medicine garden is just looking a little bit tired. I need to come out here and cut everything down. The verbena is ready to be cut down. The marshmallow is ready to be cut down. All the calendula could get cut back. All that kind of fun stuff. We did move our lavender over here. I think I showed you that in the last garden tour, but we moved our lavender underneath the porch to help it not get drowned in the winter time because we are so rainy. I'm gonna go ahead and walk through the poison garden and then in this video. So this is our new poison garden edition. It's been a shade garden. It's still a shade garden. We're just rearranging it so that it specifically holds toxic plants, so that we can kind of showcase them and educate the public about what a toxic plant might look like and how to handle it in the garden. If you're interested in knowing more about toxic plants that might be growing in your garden, I will link the video below where I go through my entire garden and show you everyday common plants that you may be growing in your garden that are actually considered toxic. We have our dead hedge here that we've been building, and it's doing great. You could see it's maybe, if you've been following along, you know that it has lowered in the rain and the compaction has started. But this was, up close to the top here, and now it's dropped a good 1.5 feet. So it's doing exactly what we anticipated that it would be doing. Most of everything in the interior here is deciduous. We do have pittosporum in here. We have the male and the female, and the female has lots of berries on it. Isn't that so fun? I should collect some of these and see how well they dry. Do they dry like a holly? I haven't tried it before. We also have lots of berries on the snowberry bush, which is a native here in Oregon. I've never tried adding these into a dried flower arrangement or a wreath or anything like that. If you've ever used snowberry outside of the garden in a floral arrangement, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know how they hold up, if they're worth cutting or not. And then, we've just got the hydrangea. Like I said, is semi-evergreen, so it may or may not drop its leaves. This particular one, because we had such a bad damage with root removal this year, I will probably do the same as I did with my roses, and I'll just come in mid-January and I'll strip all the leaves and give it a new chance to flush fresh growth in the spring. But we actually don't do any pruning on this. I can come through and just snip off the heads, but it's not necessary. And then this is a rhodie that we moved this summer, which was struggling in its old place. It has actually put on a little bit of growth and a whole bunch of little buds right there, which this plant has never bloomed for me before. Oh, there's some buds down there too. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how she does in the future living in this space. We did recently buy a fence gate to build right there, which I'm really excited about. And then we will be picking up some arborvitaes or junipers or something to start creating a hedge here, and then continuing our dead hedge over on this side to join that one, and that'll complete this space and secure it. Well, I don't know how interesting all of that was, but it's winter time and there's not a ton going on. But it is definitely a time of dreaming and scheming and noticing what is missing. And I'm noticing that I am missing a little bit of like punch in, like a 1-2 punch in the garden right now. You know, when we look closely, we could see like the pineapple sage and the snapdragons are blooming, the vermilion is blooming. And those are kind of subtle, and I wonder if there's something, maybe even like a variegated evergreen, that would just like sort of highlight and make the garden extra beautiful this time of year. I also know that we do rely on winter holiday decoration during this time of year, so it's kind of nice to take a chance and walk around without the decorations so that I could really see what's going on, because sometimes you're distracted by all those sparkly lights. So it's a good opportunity for me to walk around the garden and see what is missing and what I'd like to add. I'm noticing, you know, there's a lot of green, and I could add some blue or some red into the garden a little bit more for this time of year specifically. All right, well, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you're celebrating your life, and there is so much traffic today. It was so quiet all morning. I didn't come out here with my microphone, and all of a sudden there's just like so much traffic. Anyways, I hope you are celebrating your life, and I hope you're having a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.